Gulshan showed up in our lives by chance. She was old, searching for work. Mom wasn't looking to hire anyone. And even if she had been, Gulshan was Muslim and my family Hindu. When I was growing up, most families in India hired help within their own religion. Unless they could afford English-speaking, Catholic nannies. But there was something about Gulshan, true to her name, which means garden in Hindi. She created a kind of refuge around her. Before we knew it, she was in our kitchen making Mom's favorite dessert. Firni, a bit like rice pudding. Before returning to India, my parents had lived in Libya, where my father was the head of a steel manufacturing plant. Because the country was not very stable, they sent us to boarding school in the foothills of the Himalayas, which we continued to attend. My mother, something of an introvert, spent much of her time at home. Gulshan was her constant companion, listening to her stories. While she made mango pickles or dusted or helped my mother organize dinner parties. Gulshan had no family, and my mother, in a sense, adopted her. She would buy her saris and small presents during Eid and Diwali. Whenever I came home to Patna from school, and later from college, there was Gulshan. She never forgot to make my favorite dish. Aloo bhujia, spicy potatoes cooked in mustard oil. I never forgot to touch her feet. In a sign of respect that is usually reserved for older relatives. In India, there was often a certain distance between employers and their household help. But I couldn't maintain this divide with Gulshan. I would hug her tight. She was so petite I would sometimes even try to lift her up. This took her a little getting used to. The first time, discomfited by my actions, she whispered and spat. I nudged her. Did you just cuss? Oh, my baby, how can you say that? Gulshan cupped my face in her hands. I was asking Allah to always bless you. The house lights up when you are around. Don't go back. We had a favorite corner in my parents' home, where I would sit cross-legged on the floor. Gulshan would sit on a chair. She would oil my hair, just as my mother did, and murmur, always be happy, my baby. May Allah always bless you. When I married in the late 90s, Gulshan worried that I would start to behave like a traditional Indian woman. So the day after my marriage, when my husband and I visited my family, I changed out of my sari into old, tattered shorts and sat in Gulshan's lap. She cried, my baby, I am so happy you are the same. After I moved to New York, I spoke frequently with Gulshan by phone when she was at my parents'. But slowly, Gulshan started to show up less and less.